Here, let me share how to do this. So I have 3 cups of flour here. I got my yeast here and the water, as I mentioned. So you could put your flour in here, sprinkle in your yeast and mix it up and add the water and you'll be okay. But what I do to make everything a lot simpler is I put the water in here first with the yeast, and I'm going to show how I do it. So I've got 3 cups of flour, so I'm going to want 2 cups here of water. So it's got to be warm. So this is cold just from the sink, but I'm going to add in some warm water from my tea kettle here. Let me just show that. And I just want to get it to 2 cups. I don't want anything too hot or too cold. I want it just like this. I can put my finger in there and it's not too hot. So that's pretty good. A little tiny bit hotter than I want it. I'm going to just cool it down a pinch. So let's just do that. Alright, that's pretty good. Not too hot, as I said. I'm just going to pour this in here. So we got the water in here. Actually, I could take a little out just to make sure I don't overdo it. So again, 3 cups of flour, 2 cups of water. I got a little less than 2 cups for now in here. Sprinkle in the yeast. There's my teaspoon, it's right here. So we're going to go, that's 1.5 teaspoons because we got a 1/2 teaspoon for each cup. We got 3 cups, so we got 1 teaspoon here and another 1/2. So again, the reason for that is for every cup of flour, we got a 1/2 teaspoon of yeast. This goes back in the refrigerator. And now I don't pour the flour in right away. I want this mixed up and start to activate. You can see it's going to start to foam a little bit and create some bubbles. Now, it's a lot easier to do this than to put the dry yeast or the yeast into the flour, because then you got to incorporate it all and make sure you have it. So I like to do it this way. And now I'll put in the flour. And just dump it in. That's it. Start to stir. And when it all comes together, we're gonna cover it. I cover it with the dish and then let it rise. And it might take about an hour. And then I can start making whatever I want. Now, just to get a little bit more flavor, I can let it proof over, for 48 hours or even go up to maybe 72 hours. But if it overproofs, we don't want that. So you can put it in the fridge to slow that down, or once you've got it good, you can freeze it and then take it out again. I do this all in here, just like this. It's really 1, 2, 3. I reserved a little bit of the water in here because I might add it in. Let's see how it comes together here. Again, I make pizza, homemade pizza with this. I make calzones. I make bread. So I might have some bread here that so I made just some of the bread I have, a couple of pieces I have left over. So it makes nice bread. Again, I make calzones and things like that. You can add salt. I happen to not add salt, but of course, if you like that flavor, you could. But I just don't add it. But this, you could add it really at any time you want. This is just some more I made. This is actually about a day old, but if you toast it, you know, put it back in the oven, it'll be okay. Maybe I'll show some other pictures, but I'm not sure if I have them handy. But I make, again, calzones. I make pretzels with this, pizza, and bread, of course. So now it came together kind of nice here. I might add a little more water. Let me see if I want to do that. I'll show you what it looks like here. So I'm going to start working it a little bit with my hands here and then decide whether I'm going to add water or not. I think it's feeling pretty good here. Again, if you go too much water, it's going to wind up getting too sticky and then it'll become too hard to work with. This ain't too bad. So I'll probably just keep it just like this. Now we can go a little tiny bit more water just to see how we're doing. Not too much, as I said. Oops. There's a little bit in here. So everything's done in the bowl. Yeah, a little bit of extra water there is going to help it come together a little bit better. It wasn't necessary though. You're going to want to just fold it in. You want to start building. You want that protein to start interlocking. And what I do is, once this rises up in about an hour, I'll knock it down and I'll fold it, press it down, and I'll do some folds with it. I might be able to show that as well. The more you do, all that's doing is just building a structure. You don't have to do it actually, but I do it. The more you fold it and work it, it's going to have more body, more structure. If you don't know how to do those folds, you can just do what I'm doing here. But I can show, if I have some footage of that, I might be able to show how I fold it. So it comes in handy, especially if you're using high hydration mixes. But basically this is all you need to do. This is it. You cover it with the dish. Let me get one. There we go. You got it nice here. It's all incorporated. You cover it up. Put it to the side. In about an hour it'll rise up. And then you make whatever you want. But I'm going to knock it down again. Just build some more strength so it's a little easier to work with. And I should be able to show some of that. If not, this is basic. This is basically all you have to do anyways. So this is all I'm doing. See, that's it. This is going to fill this whole thing out. Simple 1, 2, 3. And no fuss whatsoever. Now I just have to rinse off a couple things and that's it. So that was really all it is, all there is to it. And again, in about an hour this is done. I can make whatever I want. Now if I want to put a little more effort into it, do some more folds and knock it down, this and that, build up some more strength and body, then when you work the pizza dough, it's going to stay together better. And that's about it. Now I might show how I'm going to do that, or I might just put this video up depending. But thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. It really helps my channel a lot. And have a great day. Okay, so it's been about an hour and a half, and it rose up quite a bit here. Usually goes all the way up to the top, but this time it's a little shy of that. And I'll just, again, I can just take it out and make whatever I want now. So, but I'm going to just show how I build a little strength in this, do a few folds. So I like to get a little bit of flour because it's a little sticky, and that just helps a little bit. So let me grab some flour. And here we go. So just get some flour. The same bread flour has a little bit more protein in it. And it's fine. You can use also the all-purpose. Just putting a little bit around, especially around the edges, and I just go in here like this, trying to show on the camera how I do it. Usually just keep it down flat, and I'm basically scraping the sides down. You can use a nice scraper for this, works great, but I actually just use my hands. I try to clean the sides because I don't want it to dry out, and I don't want little dry bits in the pizza dough or whatever I'm making. So just knock that down on the sides. Now, if there was too much water in here, this would be pretty hard to do because it would be it'd be too sticky and make a mess. But again, I'm doing everything within this small space here. I'll just start to go underneath and pull it up. So that's basically here. Again, I can take it out, do whatever I want, but I'm going to do a couple folds. So you get it up like this. Just knock it down like that. Go the other way. Knock it down and fold it over, and I'll do the other way, and just basically I'm knocking it down, folding it over, go back the other way. I like to press it down. You don't want it into like a ball. Like this, a tiny bit of flour, just a tiny bit. Knock it down like this. Then pick it back up, and I'm going to kind of knock it down and fold it over. That's it. So we got this. You do it as many times as you want. I kind of like doing it, kind of fun. But the more times you do it, the better off it's going to be. Then you can also just take it out, fold it under like that. And leave it, let it rise up, put it in the refrigerator, and that's basically it. The longer it kind of proofs, it'll have a little bit more of a little more yeast flavor. So you can do 12 hours, 24 hours, 72 hours. You don't want to go any more than that. And it might overproof. So I could take this, separate it, do what I want, as I keep saying, but when you make a pizza, a ball, because you're gonna, for the pizza dough, this is just, I would separate this, but I'm just showing, it's easier to see a larger one. So this will not be complete because it's not closed on the bottom. So that's, you have to make sure this is completely closed when you do pizza, because it won't lock in that air. It won't lock it in and make it puff up nicely for the crust. So you gotta make sure it's closed. So that's basically, that's it. This would be a giant pizza right now, but I would separate this into probably four 4 dough balls. And that's basically it. Now if I want to do, again, this is only after an hour and a half. If I wanted to do bread, I could show a couple techniques on that for like a baguette, for example. But let's do a pizza, 1 ball for a pizza. So I'll do it right in this dish. Take out what I think I need. Something like this. A little bit on here. So as I did mention before, I could begin to make something immediately. And the only reason for that is because I'm not putting too much water and keeping the hydration just right. If it was too wet, it's going to be too hard to do any of this. So that's closed up on the bottom. Then your flour. And then a little bit on top. Okay. So then you just start doing it, just like this. You don't want to push down, you want to kind of keep your hands flat, your fingertips flat. Just like that. This is just after an hour and a half, but really it could be just about an hour. Sometimes I'll put it in, I'll find the nicest spot in the kitchen, sometimes above my toaster oven where it's nice and warm, usually. But as you can see, you can make whatever you want here. You could fill this, you can make a calzone, you can do, you know, lots of things, all with this recipe here, which is for every cup of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of yeast, and the water ratio is basically now I can do this on a cutting board, which works out even better than a dish. But I'm just trying to show that you can do this stuff without anything. Don't want to make the middle too thin, so you do the stretching on the ends. So that's that. Let me get a dish, excuse me, a cutting board. So just put this on here. And you can do whatever you want with this here. So this would be your pizza. So again, make sure you got a nice crust on here. Or as the Italians call it, corcini. And that's it. Now, you can make a calzone too. So this is a pizza. As I said, this is a pizza. If you want to do a calzone, you just fill it and you just fold it over and pinch the sides down, and that's it. I could put this all back together and make bread with it as well, like a baguette. So you have to close it all up, lock it in so it traps the air, fold it underneath like that. Just kind of getting my hands underneath it, and it's still kind of looking like that, so I want to really squish it together. See that? Squished it together on the bottom. Okay, so back to using it for whatever I want. Make a baguette here. Stretch it out. Baguette, you gotta have it a little bit bigger to work with. You can't have it like a mini thing over here. You gotta stretch. I'm pressing it because I want it to get a little wider. It's looking decent. All right. So, baguette would be basically folded. I fold it in half. Press that down all around the sides here, like this. And I give it another fold one more time. Just like that. Press that down. You can use your palm and kind of hit it too, or you can just pinch it. Just like this. You get your own technique. Then, get a little flour here, and roll it. If you have a cutting board that doesn't slide around on you, it'd be kind of nice. You could put a towel underneath. But again, you don't need to do any of that stuff. It can all be done very basically. Very basic. Looking decent. Okay, that's it. And then I'm going to have to just score that. And so you can let it rise a little bit more. So you can just cover this and let it rise. Or what I do is sometimes I just score it and stick it in the oven for about 30 minutes. And then that's what I do there.